Here is my hot take, but I think it's just a really rational take. If you want a traditional wife, then be a traditional man. And I'm talking about obviously heterosexual relationships here. You cannot ask for stay-at-home wifey privileges if you don't have stay-at-home wifey money. You want me to clean the kitchen? I'm happy to clean the kitchen if I get to wake up at 10, I get to clean the kitchen, I get to go lounge by the pool, and then you come home at night. Like, sure, no problem. But if I'm waking up at the crack of dawn with you, we're both going to our two very demanding jobs, and then coming home, don't ask me for anything you're not willing to do.
Right. So it's got to be we can agree that it's got to be a specific woman with a detailed background that justifies asking for that type of lifestyle and that type of relationship dynamic.
Surely, if what she offers is worth it to that particular man, right? So that's not gonna work for everybody, because some men might need their woman to work, which is most people, right? But there are some men who don't need that. There are some men who would like to retire their wives, and because so they can pour into them, pour into the home, pour into the children. It could be special circumstances. It could be a lot of different things, but I think the main idea is to have these conversations early on in a relationship and establish what it is that you're actually looking for and find the right type of matchup. Most of the times we go wrong is we don't have these conversations. We think about love and we having fun, but when it comes to the seriousness of a marriage, right, and raising children in the household, we tend to shy away from the responsibility part and start running off the vibe instead. We end up asked out and divorced.
Knowledge says that he feels bad for the ugly girl that comes from a wealthy family. What is she going to do? They get married too. So the 50-50 thing, I heard somebody talk, I think it was Casey, right? Casey said that she's going to tell her husband, like, I was raised this way. I don't do the outside work. I want to pour into. Well, am I wrong?
No. I was talking about women in general. I'm already married. That's not. I was just talking. I was using examples.
Not you personally, but that's what you said.
Referring to what?
You just said it like 4 minutes ago. You were saying
about the girl in the video.
Well, the main concept that you said that the woman, she's going to come at the man. She's going to say, I don't believe I want to work outside. I want to pour into my husband. I've been raised to pour into my family.
She was saying
I was referring to the girl in the video and how she said it another way that she could have said it. What she said.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That would have been taken. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about your life personally. I don't know you. So what I'm saying is what your concept said. So I was thinking about that, and when I was listening to you, I was thinking, when a woman says that to a man, how do men take that? I was thinking about it because if a man is getting with a woman, the woman has to be able to adapt, right? I understand the woman can say, I prefer to be home, but do men see that as she's telling me out the bat, like she wants me to take care of everything, and that if I'm not capable of taking care of everything, then she's just either she's going to be unhappy, unsatisfied, or disappointed?
Like she could be taken, like they could take it as her being disagreeable and hard to work with.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Do you think that men might see it that way? Because circumstances happen. So that means, like, I understand what you want or what you prefer. But if a woman's coming off the bat saying, I'm not going to work, or I don't want to work, or I wasn't raised to work, it can sound kind of, I don't know what the word is. Yeah. That's what I was
remember
thinking.
You were saying that on the podcast before, Amira, weren't you? You was like, we as Black women decide to work and we shouldn't be trying to work so much and start letting the men, we should be following them and what they do. I thought that was something you agreed with.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is actually coming out and saying it like that. What I'm talking about, the way Casey said that we should say it like that, like coming out and being like, I don't want to. I'm not gonna do it.
No, I wasn't saying that we should say that.
Not you, I know. You said the girl.
I wasn't talking.
But if you didn't hear what the first girl said, the first girl was like, do I look like the type of girl that go 50-50? And it's like saying it like that versus the way that Casey said it. If you say it like that, then it's like, oh, are you all about money? Because you like, do I look like the girl? You didn't say what substance you bring to the relationship. Casey was saying, instead of just saying, do you look like that? Say what you can bring to the family. What can you do for the family? What can you do for me if I am your husband? And if you are expecting that type of lifestyle?
Yeah. I was saying
I
in
see what you're
response to
saying.
Bruce's point about Hillary.
With the way she said it.
Hillary
Mm-hmm.
with the Fresh Prince, like if she was raised a certain way, a girl like that who was raised extremely wealthy and seeing her father and the way she's raised,
What if it was a man? What if it was a man that said that? Do I look like my wife work? Is that a justice? Do you think that a man can say that and it would it be different from her? I think that would work. Depending, I mean, what a man can have I think a man can sell the look. Look, do I look like my man at work? My woman work?
But McPherson, that's different because that's the man, because he's going to have to take on all the responsibility. So if
that's why I said it's different.
If he's welcoming that, that's different. It's a positive, I guess. But for the woman to say, you're going to take on these responsibilities because I don't think I need to do this. I was raised this way. I don't work. Then it's
so Darwin. That's the point. So your wife is a stay-at-home wife. So if you made that decision because that was something that you wanted in your heart for your family. If she came to you when y'all started dating and said, hey, like, just so you know, this is a standard regardless, like when y'all initially met, would you have been turned off by it, even though that was already in your heart? Or would you be like, okay, perfect, we're on the same page? Which way would you take it?
Any woman come to me saying the word, this is the standard, I'm cutting her off and I'm not even entertaining her.
Period. So
that's what you just made a mirror point. Okay.
You can't
I have a question, Darren. If your daughter, what if you remember you said when you had daughters, you were raising your daughters to make sure that they go for a man like you. How would you expect her to court them then?
Well, first of all, the man that found favor in him, I would have to meet this guy to even approve of any of that. Before any of that take place, I would hope that, my daughters.
I mean, in the dating around, like just initially dating.
I don't want my daughters out there just dating around like that. I want them to be intentional about what they done. I don't want this serial dating, all this other shit. No.
But that's why Casey said she would say what she said to make sure she's being intentional. Hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I expect in a marriage. But you said if she comes off, if a girl that did that to you, you would be turned off. So how would she make sure intentionally dating that she's setting these boundaries? Like, hey, I want you to be a man of God. I want you to be a provider. I want to be taken care of like my father took care of me.
She wouldn't do that. She wouldn't do that. She would have me meet him, and that's the conversation that I will have with him. It's not what she, and if I approve of him, then whatever he says goes. It's not even about her pushing a standard on him. That's how it's supposed to be.
So what about for our community with
hold on,
I have one more question. For our community, a lot of us have fatherless homes, but that don't mean we don't learn and can bring the same value that a woman who had a father brings. We can learn, we can go get help, we can do therapy. Like you said, we could get men of God in our lives to show us how to be a wife. So if we don't have a father to bring to them, that's when you suggest that we carry men, like go to somebody we consider a brother or something like that. That's what you would recommend.
Well, okay. Here's the thing, Doc. So to kind of speak specifically to what Bruiser was saying earlier about what if a daughter learned it from her father, right? Well, typically in those situations, if a father, if when we're talking specifically about like an Uncle Phil type, right? You're talking about a divine nine, talented 10th type of person, right? What do they call them? The centennial ball type people, right? They will typically present men to their daughters. She don't go out and find men. They will bring men to her that they find suitable. And they will say, this is the man that you should marry because their family is this. They come from this background. We come from this background. They would naturally put their daughters in positions to where they will run into those men. You can't, and like, to speak specifically about the woman we're reacting to, right? At what point do you would a woman who would say, my daddy taught me, run out of steam? At what age would that run out of steam? I would say a woman in her 40s telling you my daddy told me to never settle for a man that can't pay all the bills kind of goes out the window, because okay, your daddy taught you this. How long is this gonna take you? It done took you 40 years, you still ain't found him? Or also, how I would look at it also is that what your following your parents, right? Why is it that they only hear what their father said and never what their mama said? Because your mama also told you something, but you completely skated over what your mama told you about the man, what you're supposed to do for a man in those situations. All you heard was, daddy told me that I should never have to pay a bill. But you never heard your mama say, hey, you need to do this, 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 and this for a man. As a matter of fact, here's the conundrum that we've seen between like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They heard all the provider stuff. They heard all these people telling them that the man need to provide. And when they saw what the women of that time had to do to have a man that provided for them, they rejected that part. So they saw their mom and said, I would never sit at home and work that hard. All this unpaid labor, I don't want to do that. But they held on to the provider part. That's the reason why a lot of women hate their grandfathers and love them at the same time. You can say, you can vilify that whole generation of men and call them abusers, financial abusers. They beat on your mama, they did her dirty, she had to do all this work, while at the same time holding them to a higher esteem of saying those men were providers. What's wrong with you?
I feel like Hillary was kind of like that. That's why I was surprised that was being used. As like, I'm not holding that baby. The maid gonna do it. I'm not cleaning. I'm not doing nothing, because she didn't see the part where Vivian had to do that, or it was mess, or whatever the case was. But Hillary was just like very entitled as the first woman was. So that's why I'm like, is these women that we're like, are these women only for the, you know what I'm saying? For like, when is these women accepted? Because at this point, that's what, like, back to what Trev was saying in the very beginning. If it's not other men enabling them who they're dating, it seems like now that their father is enabling that at some point.